For our topics, the problem statements are: number 1, the awareness of Malaysians on the issues of food insecurity and the problems of hunger among indigenous people in Malaysia. Number 2, the effective solutions that can be used by Malaysia government and the actions that need to be taken by all Malaysians in the effort to reduce hunger and food insecurities problems among the indigenous people. For our research questions, number 1, what is the level of awareness of Malaysians on the issues of food insecurity and hunger problems that occur in the indigenous community? The second one, what are the factors that cause the problems of food insecurity and the hunger issues among the indigenous people in Malaysia? The third one, what are the effective methods that can be applied by the Malaysian government and all Malaysians to overcome the issues of food insecurity and hunger problems faced by the indigenous community in Malaysia?
Now, for part 2 is our hypothesis. Now, moving to our second hypothesis, if the threats from wild animals can be solved, and the indigenous people apply modern technologies in agriculture, then the agricultural production of indigenous people will be increased. Now is our last hypothesis. If the Malaysian government put more effort in the development of indigenous community by solving the food insecurity and hunger problems happen among indigenous people in Malaysia, then their living standard will increase and the general level of health will also increase.
So, the objective of this assignment is, firstly, to analyze the level of awareness of Malaysians on the issue of hunger and the difficulties of food security to possess a sustainable food supply among the indigenous people. Secondly, to understand the factors that cause the problems of food insecurity and the hunger issue faced by the indigenous people in Malaysia. Thirdly, to propose the suitable and effective methods that can be used to resolve the hunger in the indigenous community in Malaysia in order to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal of Zero Hunger. The scope of our research paper will cover the level of awareness of Malaysians on the issue of the difficulties of food security and hunger problems faced by the indigenous people in Malaysia. Thus, Malaysia will become our main focus research area. Besides, this research paper will also focus on the methods that can be used to reduce or resolve the problems faced by the indigenous people in Malaysia. We will propose effective ways that are easy and applicable to increase the awareness of Malaysians on this topic and to solve the zero hunger problems occurred among the indigenous people in Malaysia. Furthermore, we will investigate the methods proposed by the Malaysians to solve the problems in the survey form. We will propose the perfect solutions for Malaysian governments by using the suggested ideas as our references.
The survey was conducted through Google Form because it was equivalent to our modern technology nowadays and the targeted responded. From the survey, there are 50 number of respondents with the average age of 18 to 24 years old, which is the age of university students, 26 male and 24 female. The graph shows the awareness of Malaysians toward indigenous people. From the graph, we can see that about 88% of Malaysians is noticed that indigenous people are still exist in our community. about 42% of Malaysians have communicate or interact with the indigenous people before. About 80% of Malaysians are aware of the issue of hunger among indigenous people, and about 54% of Malaysians are aware of the issue about food insecurity among the indigenous people. So, based on the graph, we can conclude that Malaysians are actually aware of this issue.
For the factor or causes of the food insecurity among the indigenous people, most respondents are agree that the difficulty the indigenous people face they do not have enough food or property. They believe that indigenous people could not obtain food security because they do not have strong financial system and they must starve themselves because of the lack of food. Furthermore, most respondents agree that indigenous people also lack in the facilities. These facilities mentioned are related to agriculture. Lack of facility give indigenous people difficulty because they could not maintain their crops and livestock for a long time, as most as their harvesting died not long after that. Lack of food resource also one of the difficulties faced by the indigenous people to obtain their food. And last but not least is the water pollution and water resource. Next is the way to solve hunger issue amongst the indigenous people. First is food bank. A food bank is a charitable organization that distributes food to those who have difficulty purchasing enough to avoid the hunger. Second is providing clean water supply. Most of the respondents agree that the government must take the responsibility by providing the clean water supply for them so that they can use it for the agriculture. For the conclusion, all the hypotheses in this project could be accepted because Malaysians are aware of the food insecurity among the indigenous people. Second, wild animals can affect indigenous people agriculture activity. Next, government should play their role to tackle this issue. And lastly is modern technologies can increase the food production of the indigenous people.
The Orang Asli community are well known to be a strong and resilient group of indigenous people who can withstand any threat from the environment. However, our investigation today at Kampung Kuala Koh in Gua Musang, Kelantan reveals that their living conditions can be very difficult, which in turn leaves them at a high risk for infections or
Our
diseases.
journey to the top of the hill where the Orang Asli community live was very difficult. Only four-wheel drive vehicles could climb their way to the summit, located 2 kilometers from the main road of the village. You would still need to enter the jungle by foot for at least another kilometer before reaching the makeshift shelters inhabited by the Orang Asli community. Along with the Hazardous Materials Unit or HAZMAT team from the Fire and Rescue Department, we were allowed to enter the area to investigate and see for ourselves the living conditions of the Orang Asli. The camps that were built by the Orang Asli were in bad shape and had no basic necessities such as clean running water or protection from the elements. While we were inspecting the nearby settlements, the HAZMAT team conducted their own investigations of the surrounding area, whilst also taking samples and specimens of the water and soil near the campsite. It is believed that the nearby stream from the river was used by the Orang Asli community and could possibly be the cause of infection.